What's going on, dudes? Shroud? Shroud? Listen. I know it looks weird. It feels weird too. It feels like chocolate milk on my face. Thank you, babe. All right, boys. Let's play some music first off. All right. Chat. DMCA Weird Champ. Yeah, interesting topic, huh? I mean, I'm sure some of you guys saw that one guy who's like, I'm not gonna say like under the gun, but people were expressing negative opinion toward him because of his take on something. Can we really quick talk about the dumb? Yeah, Raw Doggin's first thing he said. The dumb take, Alex Hutchinson's weak-ass tweet earlier today on how streamers should pay devs to play games.
Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they used music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use.
I mean, it just doesn't... The only reason it doesn't make sense is because it's just... There's such a mutual benefit there that that developers have expressed that they also want to partake in. You know what I mean? So, you know, where there is profit possibility, you know, there are people lined up to want to, you know, to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's mutually beneficial that, if it's mutually beneficial that I enjoy playing your video game and can spend months on it and love doing it, the chat can love the content that comes out of it, and then the business or the devs and the company make money, you know, from developing it. That's all sounds pretty mutually, you know, fucking America, you know, capitalism. Everyone wins type of deal. It would just be a weird thing, you know? I mean, it would the streaming service, I mean, it might as well not exist then, because there'd be no avenue for anybody to possibly make it. You would need you would need to take a loan out for an investment into the streaming world to possibly become a streamer. Now that would incentivize people that got fucking money to like it, because those guys will have an easier time getting involved. But people that don't have no money or have a hard enough time just getting the setup to stream, you know, the internet, the computer that can handle it, the audio equipment, everything, right? The monitors. You know, it would be, quite frankly, it would just be impossible for new streamers to make it, because that in itself would just get you to step one. And we know step one isn't really shit, right? Because step one is getting the equipment and starting your stream. That doesn't mean anything yet. So yeah, basically streaming would just die, in my opinion, wouldn't it? DMC needs to be rewritten, and I hope you and other streamers get to testify before Congress when it does. Yeah, you know... Man, I hope we don't have as many problems as we are foreseeing ourselves having here. Hopefully Twitch can get our back and step in, you know? It would just be weird. Thinking about a world where, like, you paying for the game wasn't enough to justify you streaming it to other people. See, the thought process behind the thought process behind it is like is that it's compared to something like movies. And it's like, because Summit1g bought a movie doesn't mean I'm allowed to watch it with you guys, right? So that's kind of like where I feel like this person's coming from, on the basis of like, but he's just trying to be like, yeah, that's how video games should be, right? But realistically, what people are saying is that, yeah, but a movie is just in stone what it is, you know? There's nothing but like anything talking over that a streamer can do, but a video game is interactive. So it's saying it's like, it's not a conflict of interest as much as it is a movie, because a movie is not technically, but, you know, most likely a one and done type of deal, right? You watch a movie one time, more than likely you're not going to watch it again. If a streamer was ever allowed to watch a movie on stream, it would either be some sort of ridiculous deal, or it would be involving some sort of streaming service behind it that it would support or something. You know what I mean? But the idea of playing video games doesn't have that problem because it's interactive. So just because Soda Poppin' is enjoying himself on this video game doesn't mean that that's enough enjoyment for everyone. Some people will look at that like, hey, I want to be involved in that enjoyment myself. You might not necessarily have the first reaction of, that was enough for me. Thank you for that, you know? Not everybody's like that, right? That was my problem with, so remember, some of you guys remember, I talked about why the Telltale games aren't successful. They're very well done, but streamers are not good for that game. In my opinion, are not good for single-player games, personally. So depending, very heavy story-driven, maybe a little lacking on the gameplay type of games. I don't think streamers necessarily would benefit those as much. But that's, you know, I would say a little bit more rare of an occasion, not rare of an occasion, but, you know, not necessarily the pop-in video games that streamers are playing, you know, minus the Telltale games. Because they were very good, and we liked them, but not super good for business, in my opinion. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in the video game world, minus some specific areas, you know? Yeah, people aren't happy with him, though. Remember I was telling you guys? Man. Nah, we're not going to jump down that rabbit hole. Twitter's a scary world. I'm not angry about his opinion on it. I just think it's an interesting perspective, you know? I don't think it's the right way to look at it, but, yeah, I'm not gonna hate him for thinking about it in a weird way, you know? Maybe letting his, just like the one perspective of one thing kind of seeping into that idea of another, you know what I mean? And just not really thinking about the other stuff around it, you know? Yeah, bro, 100% agree. Glad some people have a brain. Mucho love, my friend. Yeah, he's just like, you know, that's what it seemed like. That's how it seemed to me. Appreciate it. Listen, I don't really know how it's all gonna go. I saw a video on Tim the Tatman, and a lot of other streamers are deleting their VODs, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be honest. I don't want to. Honestly, streamers and devs are doing devs and orgs way more good than bad. If you're playing a game with 20,000+ people watching, and it's something that people and yourself get into, that will influence people to buy it, more than it just being advertised on the stream store page or a Riot or Epic. Well, I mean, we just live in a different world now. I mean, it used to be a time where you would look to, you know, websites or magazines for their thoughts or their score on a video game, and that's kind of how you justified maybe whether you'd give it a shot or not. Now we've probably hurt that system the most as streamers, because I would say more people look to the opinions of maybe their favorite streamer on whether they like a video game or not, or maybe you just respect the opinion of some streamers because they have similar interests as you, like Lyric, somebody that I can look to that I might like some of his games, so I take his opinion pretty seriously. You know, it's just stuff like that, you know what I mean? Other streamers influence me to play games. YouTubers influence me to play games. It's all a big happy circle, in my opinion, except for single-player games that are story-driven and not very much gameplay-driven. That's all. That's the only problem I foresee, really, is, yeah, for games like that. So, I mean, as a developer, you should know that, right? If you're not a AAA company and you want the eyes of Twitch viewers, then you would immediately need the idea of, okay, if we want heavy story, we need gameplay to go along with it. We need the idea of replayability. You know, that's where games like, in my opinion, Detroit Become Human were somewhat successful, because, yeah, it was like this, okay? Think about the Walking Dead Telltale series, and at the end of each episode, it's like, oh, they give you like 4 things, like, oh, 60% of the motherfuckers did this, 20% of the motherfuckers did this, trying to like trying to like vary out the story, trying to like let you know like, hey, different things can happen in this story. But what did Detroit Become Human do? Those motherfuckers gave you a physical diagram and showed you physically how fucking big their game was, right? So it would almost say to the viewer, like, yeah, you're watching this streamer play this way, but look at how many ways that you can go that maybe would be different for you than the streamer. You know what I'm saying? Which is a selling point, which the Telltale games didn't have. But if you just have that of the Telltale experience, which is not very physically showing how openly various the gameplay can be, or how far the storyline could differentiate, you know what I mean, from one another, if you're not physically showcasing that, it's pretty tough. If you're watching a lot of streamers play it the same way, or maybe just a tiny little bit different, you might not want to buy the game now, because why do you need it, you know? On the contrary, Detroit Become Human might pique your interest in wanting to play it after you watch one streamer. Then maybe you don't even want to watch another streamer. Maybe you're like, oh, fuck that. I don't even want to watch another playthrough. I'm going to get the game myself, and I'll leave this one on the streamer, you know, back end. You know, we'll just leave it on the back burner. I don't know why we're going off on this. That's like, I thought about that. I thought about that a while ago when the Telltale series, or when they almost didn't finish the Walking Dead series or something, you know what I mean? It was interesting, because you would think, due to the popularity of their game, that they were actually successful, but it turns out, you know, really not. Another thing is, what if a streamer plays an old-ass game and the company that makes/published it went out of business? Food for thought. Love the stream. Yeah, who gets the money then? Or who do I gotta pay? Who do I gotta pay to play some PlayStation? Huh?